Alright folks, we have two very interesting products over here to unbox and take a first look today. They are not laptops, they are not smartphones, and they are not tablets at all. They are actually mini PCs for commercial use. Introducing the Giada F300 and the Giada G300. These are mini PCs from Giada, China. I'm Warren from KLGadgetGuy. Let's unbox them right now. So let's take a look at the Giada F300. I've taken the contents out of the box because the box is really big. So we take a look at what are the contents inside the box. So these are two wireless antennas. So probably this PC does support multiple in and multiple output for wireless. So we're going to put it at the side. And here's the power socket. And here's an adapter, like a notebook adapter. So we put it at the side, and voila, this is the Giada F300. Let's take this out. Wow, it's really heavy, and it's really made of aluminum chassis, and with a dustproof design, and it's really fanless. As you can see, there isn't any vent around there. Right, so let's take a look at the ports itself. I'm going to focus the camera a bit. Alright, so this is the front of the Giada F300. On the front here, we see two audio jacks, which is one for the headphone jack and the microphone jack. And this is a Comm port and two USB 3.0 ports. 3 LED lights on the front. The side has basically nothing because it's a fanless design. So over here, we have two HDMI and display port combo ports. Two USB 3.0 ports, a Comm port again, and a gigabit LAN, and two USB 2.0 ports right here. And this is where you insert the two antennas. And finally, there's a clear comms button over here, which is CMOS, clear CMOS, I think. And here we have an on-off button, which I'm not sure what this means. And this is where you plug in the AC adapter. So this is the Giada F300. Let's take a look at the Giada G300 next. And now, this is the Giada G300, which is not a fanless design. So we're going to take this out, and here's the contents, pretty much the same as the Giada F300 as well. So we have pretty much the same contents over here. Two wireless antennas, the power socket, and the DC adapter. So let's put this three on the side as well. And we're going to take out the Giada G300. Voila, here it is. So it's a very different design over here. It's not fanless design. It's not a fanless design anymore, and there's no heatsink like design. But still, it is still made of aluminum chassis. So we take a look at the ports as well. Let me focus. Here's the two audio jacks, pretty much the same. But the difference here is that it has two Comm ports. Probably let me just take the Giada F300 for comparison. So here is our Giada F300. So let's do a comparison between the front and the back. So the front, we have two audio jacks on the G300, but there's two Comm ports on the G300 over here, whereas the F300 only has one. But it is actually a customizable port whereby you can just ask the company to add in if you want. And we have the same two USB 3.0 port design right here, 3 LED lights as well as the power button. So let's turn over to the back. So notice there's some difference over here. So you can still customize an additional two Comm ports for the G300, and here's the cooling vent because it's not the fanless design. So turn over to the back. Yep, you're seeing a little bit different hardware configuration right here. So the G300 is much more high-end. If you can look over here, we have an HDMI port, a dedicated HDMI port, and two DisplayPort HDMI port combo. So basically the G300 has three display outputs, and we have the same two USB 2.0 ports. So the F300 has a Comm port over here, the same gigabit LAN, and the two antennas for multiple wireless input and output. And this is the same DC adapter port that you plug in your power. So this is the Giada G300 and F300. These two commercial PCs that could be built ready for gaming, of course. So let me talk to you about the specs. The specs for both of these models are actually Intel Core i5 Haswell processor, 4200U, clocked at 1.6 GHz. It has 4 GB of RAM, 500 GB of hard disk storage, and both actually has discrete graphics. GeForce GT630, 2 GB discrete graphics, and of course, you know, it is totally configurable. So next, let me open up the chassis of both of these devices and let's take a look. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the hardware internals of the F300 and the G300. So the first thing that you'll notice is that they pretty much have the same hardware placement. For example, the hard disk is located on the left of the chassis over here. So they are the same Hitachi hard disk that is provided to us for review, and here's the SATA connector. So the only difference that you'll see is the cooling solution on the motherboard. So this is a fanless design, so obviously there's a cooling pipe here that links to the heatsink. So the heatsink is underneath this chassis, which we are not able to take this out, unfortunately, so we can show you how the heatsink looks like. So on the right here, we have a fan design. So this is pretty much like a notebook fan, so the cooling should be good enough to actually make the processor run well. So otherwise, I would say that the motherboard layout is pretty much the same motherboard, or even the same motherboard layout that these two devices are using. So let's turn to the bottom and take a look what's there. Alright, things are starting to get interesting at the bottom of the F300 and the G300. So as you can see over here, the F300 has a single RAM slot, whereby the G300 has dual RAM slots, which means the F300 has a pretty limited RAM amount that you can install on, and on the G300 you can pretty much install RAM that can go up to 16 GB. And this is the wireless card, and interestingly, both feature a SIM card module, which you can put in your mobile SIM card, but we are not sure if there's a 3G radio inside this device, but we are going to find out in the full review. And notice that there is actually something even more interesting. So in such a small form factor, you get to have two mini PCI Express slots for your mSATA or even some mini PCI Express device. So if we look over here on the G300, yes, it is basically already used up by the wireless card over here. However, we still have one more mini PCI Express slot over here. So, you know, this tells us that both the F300 and G300 are using different motherboards. Lastly, notice that both motherboards actually feature one common thing as well: solid capacitors, which means both of them are going to be very reliable mini PCs, even though with small form factor with a very simple cooling function. So both devices are going to be very reliable, but still we're going to find out in our test to see if they are really that reliable. We will be performing benchmarks, stress tests, and throw whatever things at it to see how it can handle it. So that's it for the first look and unboxing of the Giada F300 and the Giada G300. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting video content coming right up, and visit our site at www.KLGadgetGuy.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at KLGadgetGuy, and I'm Warren. I'll see you next time in our next video. That's it for now. Stay tuned to our full review.